Hey everybody, hope you're doing well today. So in today's video, we're going to be talking about something really exciting, and that is basically what sample libraries do I use? And I get this question all the time, and really is the reason why VI Control really exists, because people ask all the time, what are the best sample libraries for me personally? And that will help me make my workflow easier and help me to make the best music possible. So today we're going to be focusing on a lot of libraries that cater itself really well to cinematic orchestral music. That's personally my preferred style of writing. Just a little disclaimer here, I'm not going to mention several developers such as like Spitfire and East West, for example, just because I simply don't use those libraries very often. I'm going to explain the ones that I do use and why I use them. The other developers simply have a different sonic quality and maybe a different workflow that I just haven't really experienced and I don't prefer. So let's get right into it. The first section we should start with should be the pianos, and it's kind of like the basic tool for all our sketching stuff, but also sometimes we need a nice tinkling piano in the orchestra or even to do solo passages. And so Cinna piano sounds really, really nice. So it's a very beautiful Steinway, and it was recorded in the center of the Sony stage, but you can hear the room sound in it, and it's really beautiful. When I'm looking for that acoustic sound that kind of spreads out and kind of wraps you around that sound, I really like to use this piano. Now the next one, let's visit the Ember Tone, and it's a lot more intimate in character. You can see the Una chord has been turned on because I really like the sound of these dampened samples. And so you can see here you have all these velocity layers you can turn on, but the overall character is a little more defined. It's really unique, actually. Like it's very recognizable in terms of the sonic quality of it. When you hear it, you'll probably be able to know, okay, that's the Ember Tone Steinway, which just means that they sampled it really, really well, and they get big props for that, I think. Cool. Let's move on. The Emotional piano by Sound Iron is also really beautiful. It sounds like this. So again, a very unique sound, but this one sounds very realistic. It's basically used as its name is intended. I tend to use it for emotional passages where I'll use a little more reverb, maybe dampen the attack just a little bit, give it a more warm and beautiful sound to it. And then the Steinway Deep by Orchestral Tools, this one is from the Inspire, Berlin Inspire. I tend to use as kind of for tinkling stuff in the background whenever I just need a cool background piano. Right, so it's definitely a little more further back in the mix, and it's great because it provides you with only one microphone option, so you can't really do much tweaking to it. It comes as it is. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the orchestra. So let's start with the strings. I've mentioned before in many videos that my two workhorse string libraries are Berlin strings from Orchestral Tools and Cinematic Studio strings. I've recently picked up Cinna strings as well, but for additional color. So let me just show you a little bit of what Berlin string sounds like. So what I was doing there, I was just pressing down the sustain pedal, which turns these into sustains. But yeah, without the sustain pedal, we just have the legato. So you hear the really beautiful meat of the vibrato in there, and it sounds very defined, which is great because the section sizes they used was not too large, that that it sounds homogeneous, and it really sounds like a distinctive, passionate string section, which I love. And it sounds really, really good to me. And I love the adaptive legato system that, changes the speed of legato according to how quickly you play. They also have the concertino emulation if you'd like that sound. And the spiccatos kind of sound like this. So very biting, very short, and it cuts through a mix really, really nicely. Let's move on to some playable glissandi. Now this is one of those standout patches in the library, which I think is super duper cool. So it's kind of like this. Right? If like you have a horror film or something, you can literally play or run your fingers along the keyboard and go like that's awesome, right? I mean, they could have done this with pre-recorded glissandi, but if you're looking for your own lengths of it and exactly the starting pitches and that kind of thing, the general points where you want to go from, this patch is amazing for that. So just one sample sounds like this, right? So that's pretty cool, and you can go down as well. So you know what I mean. All right. Now we have the Cinematic Studio Strings first violins, and I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with the sound of this library. Let's turn it up just a little bit here. Okay, and they have these different articulations. Let's see what the spiccato sound like. Right? I love the mezzo tremolos, which sound like this. So it basically doubles the note for you. Sounds awesome. I love the romantic dark tone of it. It layers really well with the cutting tone of Berlin strings. Makes a very rich sound. And then finally, for Cinna strings, I got it for more of its short articulations, like the pizzicato and the marcatos, the shorts, right? So the longs kind of sound like this. These are just the longs. I don't have the legato activated actually right now. I could draw on that. That's its own patch for that. But the shorts kind of sound like this. So it's pretty close mic'd actually. Like you can hear that Sony stage in there too, but you can really hear the string against the bow, that tug, that really gives it that bombastic, big sound, which is really cool in my opinion. And those are kind of the string libraries that I use. I try not to have as too many libraries if I can help it. Try to stick with the ones I need. Okay, for Woodwinds, for an ensemble-based library, the only ensemble library I have is Hollywood Winds. I consider Berlin Woodwinds more of a soloist or individual instrumental library, right? Because they do have some ensemble patches, but the primary focus of it is focusing on single instruments. So for Hollywood Winds, it's awesome. Kind of sounds like this. So it's been pre-orchestrated, pre-arranged. So all you need to do is have the basic articulations and you can play away. Right, and on their products page, they basically talk about this tunings of it and everything that's been done to this library to give it a Hollywood flavor, which it really has. Some chordal tremolos. So again, just very effective here. I think this library is known the most for its scales though. So let's hear some of those. So here it's going, so basically the way it works is it goes from tonic to tonic, and then from the second half of this blue range here, it goes from dominant to dominant. So that's awesome. It also comes with some little textures and patterns that you can use as the bed of a composition. So this is just like Disney right here, right? I think I've talked about this. Right? So it's awesome. And now let's get to Berlin Woodwinds, and I use this for more ensemble writing when I'm writing stuff with a lot of parts and I want those woodwinds to interplay with each other. I'll use Berlin Woodwinds. So. Right, so I love that sound. The clarinet, for example. Okay, nothing will beat a live player for that, but and then bassoon. So as ensemble instruments, they work perfectly, and these are not meant to stand out on their own as solo instruments, but they're meant as for you to write for something with 2 bassoons, for example, in a full orchestra. You can use these or use this library for that. Now their expansions are wonderful. If you are looking for a library that has soloist instruments to stand out in front of the orchestra, then I would recommend the expansion B from the Berlin Woodwinds series. And this one is focused primarily on soloists, or entirely on soloists. So let's play the solo flute here. Cool, and the great thing here is that it comes with a Teldex impulse. So if you turn that on, it puts it in the Teldex hall, and you can get that reverb there. But if you turn it off, it just comes pretty dry because it's recorded in a small room. Right, so it just fades out really quickly there. But the overall sound quality is amazing. This library is really known for its oboe and English horn as well. So let's see what that sounds like. One thing I really like is it does not come with an overwhelming set of articulations. It only comes with 4 in this multi, at least. And so you get to stay really simple and basically write based on the limitations of the library, which is practically the limitations of the instrument as well. Cool. Okay, let's move on to brass. The almighty brass. So what do we got? My 2 main brass libraries that I use, surprise, surprise, Cinna Brass, Core and Pro, and as well Berlin Brass. So again, I find that Cinna Samples as a company and Orchestral Tools as a company are very complementary because sound-wise, the Cinna Brass covers a lot of the epic and Hollywood sounding stuff, while the Orchestral Tools really excels in more of the classical film score sound, in my opinion. So, you know, when I'm looking for anything from the softer range, I can go directly to OT, and vice versa. But, you know, I could get either one out of the library. It just makes it easier to choose a certain library that it's directed towards. So for Cinna Brass, let's play just a couple of these patches here. So that's beautiful. 6 horns I really, really like. And the great thing is that you can tweak a lot with the way that the articulations come out. By default, it's set to velocity. So if I play really, really lightly, then a super short articulation comes out. If I play a little harder, a little longer, and if I play hard, then you see they call it the half note short. So holding the pedal down gives you legato. And you can also turn it to poly legato, which basically lets you play 2 notes at the same time. And when you change to 2 different notes, both notes will have the legato transitions, which is awesome. All right, and let's play with a solo legato. Hear the like strain in it almost. It's so morning in its quality. I love it. And then we have the low brass. Oh, jeez. Maybe I should just lower this, damn it. So, there you go. And now for Berlin brass, it's really beautiful. I love each of the articulations here. I mean, each of these instruments. I can show you what it comes with though. It comes with 4 separate horns, a horn ensemble, 3 trumpets, 2 trombones, and a bass trombone and a tuba. And so, again, it comes with separate instruments for you to build in your own parts. And so let's just play the legato a bit. Off the bat, you can hear it's a more lyrical and more ambient sound that it comes with. Right? So it's really nice. And the adaptive legato again, you have the slow legato, but also runs legato when you play quickly. And then trumpet ensemble staccatissimo. I just wanted to show a little bit of these shorts here. That tail deck scoring stage is awesome. I love the Sony room and the tail deck stage. They are 2 of the best sounding rooms in my opinion. All right, percussion. So Cinna Perc is wonderful. And then, like I said, it has that bombastic quality that all the Cinna samples libraries really have. So let's just play some of these out. At the very bottom, we have the tubular bells as well. So sound quality wise, it's awesome. I mean, there's nothing really to fault about it. Some people think it's a little too loud and too in your face. So it comes with these different presets that you can actually, you know, tuck the instruments a little further back in the mix, but the Dennis Sands mix is usually what I go with. And then the timpani, there's the rolls. And then the hits. And it rings on really nicely. The bass drum from Berlin Percussion. Let's see here. It comes with, you know, lots of percussion, but I've just loaded in like a single patch here. But, you know, so there's the timpani. If I go into the main instrument section, main collection, you have drums and all these here. It comes with a lot more like ethnic type of drums than Cinnaperc does. Cinnaperc focuses quite a bit on the orchestral stuff, but it also has some cool ethnic things as well. I like both, but I tend to turn to Cinnaperc for my general percussion uses. I think for classical music or, you know, softer types of music, Berlin Percussion is really, really nice. And then some of the timpani in the Berlin Percussion. Let's see, here we go. So these are really respected among the community as some of the best timpani out there. Love the Cinnaperc timpani as well. Okay, and some harps. We're getting there, I promise. The Cinna harps is a great choice for me for that fairy tale kind of sound, and it's a very beautifully mic'd harp. Okay, and it comes with glissandi as well, pre-recorded. Sorry. Now the mapping is really, really cool actually. Depending on whatever key you play, it plays the glissando in that recorded key. So if I play an F, it'll play glissando in F. So that's F major right there. If I play like a B flat, it'll play B flat major glissando. Okay. You could tweak around with this as well. Like you can go, you know, decide which kind of scale or glissando you want and following whichever scale, and then you can choose short, medium, long. So if I said long, right? So good, so nice. The Berlin harp sustains. Again, a softer, more intimate quality, more tucked back in the mix. It's less easy to, it doesn't really cut through a mix quite as well, but usually we don't really want a harp to. It's supposed to create some background texture and effects anyway, right? Now, if we look at the glissandi, they also come with pre-recorded ones, which I have to click on first on the track. So that's like dreaming, right? Far, far away. Right? And then they have all these cool different ones. If, let's see, 4 times down. And then the fast, what does that say? Dove. So it kind of just rushes down. Okay, finally, we could talk about voices. Let's do it. And now keep in mind, I'm not going to talk about sound design here, just because, again, we're focusing on orchestral music only, and I'm not a sound designer by trade. I don't know how to do it. So just focusing on, you know, acoustic stuff here. This is awesome. This is the vocals from Jaeger by Audio Imperia, and the vocal sounds like this. you could hear a bit of the release tail there, but in a mix, it sounds awesome, and a little bit of reverb added to it, you know, it's perfect. And they have, you know, different legato syllables. Beautiful. Let's move on. Now, the Metropolis Arc Series contain some of the best choirs on the market, in my opinion. And let's see what this sounds like here. I mean, tell me that's not great. So behind the hood here, the patch is triggering random syllables for these women to sing. And so, you know, if you're going for just some like gibberish sounds that make it sound like they're saying words, then I would definitely use this patch. Right? Now for the men, same idea, really beautiful sound. And then the staccato. Okay. We have the children legato from Metropolis Arc 2. Gorgeous. Arc 2 women legato. And then finally the men. Deep epicness. And then finally, Time Macro has beautiful choirs as well. This is more of a general choir, so. Now, Time Macro does not contain legato, which is okay because the purpose of the library is to kind of serve as a bed for your compositions. It's not really used for melodic instrumentation, but again, I love the OT choirs in general. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the patches I use on a day-to-day basis when I'm composing orchestral music. And sometimes I'll use way less, you know, if I'm going for maybe a purely bombastic cinematic piece, then maybe I'll use primarily Cinna Brass or Cinna Samples products. I said Cinna Brass because I use it a lot, but and the OT stuff is again for more of the gentle stuff, especially Berlin Brass, which is really, really beautiful. I tend to use for more lyrical, romantic music. But Berlin strings is something I use basically on everything because it's such a beautiful, expressive sound. Some might find the sound a little bit lacking, a little bit thin, maybe not as rich as some other libraries. And sometimes I agree. That's why I use CSS to kind of layer with that. So if you play them at the same time, it really gets that perfect string sound in my opinion, for me, anyway. But yeah, that's basically it. So if you guys have any questions about it, please let me know. I'd love to see what other videos that you'd like me to make, but this is one of those questions that I get asked a ton. So, you know, there's a couple other libraries coming out this year that I'm really, really excited about. One of them's already come out. The Orchestral Tools Glory Days Big Band Horns looks spectacular, and I can't wait to get my hands on that. So, I mean, until the next video, have a great day, happy composing, and I will see you in the next one. Have a good day, guys. Bye-bye.